Okay. So a couple of days ago, the Canucks signed Pius Suter, the real third line center for your Vancouver Canucks. But who's he going to play with? What is the sexiest third line the Canucks can ice? We're going to talk about that next here on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. And before we dive into the show, we want to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day. Make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Now, on today's show, we had the emergency episode on Friday. Kyle gave me a shout when I was on the way to get drunk at the Canadiens game. But we talked about Pius Suter for about 8 minutes. But today we get the full episode, okay? So we're going to talk about Pius Suter and who is he going to play with in the Canucks lineup. What is the sexiest third line possible, or as the kids might say, the most fire third line possible. Also want to dive into the Canucks cap situation, okay? You know, they keep spending money even though they're over the cap. What are they doing? How are they going to get out of it? What is it going to look like on opening night for the Canucks to get cap compliant? But first and foremost, someone who's always keeping an eye on the budget, okay? Kyle Bhawan. How you doing, brother?
Oh man, keeping an eye on the budget. Speaking of which, okay, drinking instant coffee today. There you go, man. So do the math. I don't know how you knew that, man. Keeping an eye on the budget and drinking instant coffee, okay? Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs, your team every day. Your Canucks every day, okay? I keep screwing that up. It's your Canucks every day, okay? And maybe we'll get in trouble for that. Maybe we won't. Okay? Come on. It's the people. It's the people who are watching the show that matter. We'll talk about those people also at the end of the show because Comment Corner is a thing. Now, I do want to bring up a comment right now, okay? I'll take 5 seconds on it.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by Paraphrasing.
This comment comes from a guy on a beach named Jerry.
Dear Locked On Canucks, there's something terribly wrong with the audio of this program. I'm not sure if it's a recording quality thing or Kyle's voice.
I got to say this, Trevor. I got to do it for the people, okay? All the viewers, all the listeners. We're about to start. Training camp is about to start. I'm getting into the best shape of my life because I want the Canucks to do the same. And now a lot of people, criticizing the voice. And I think I got to start smoking cigarettes, man. I bought my first pack of Belmonts today. All right. So I'm going to be smoking a pack a day until October, and maybe the voice will change. Okay. Your team every day. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. Your third line, Trevor. Those Canucks. Pius. Am I saying that right? Pius. Okay. Pius. Okay. Pius Suter. It's going to take some time. Okay. Who are his line mates? I'm curious.
First and foremost, I got to say, Kyle, you're trying to get in the best shape of your life. Don't be smoking a pack. And Belmont's are like $20 a pack.
Dude,
now
I got to do it
That's
for the
way
people.
Too much money.
I got to do it for the people. Trevor, man. Remember, man. Fan first program, okay? It's not about me. It's about them. So I'm smoking Belmont starting today. Can you just talk about the third line? It's not a us show. It's a Canucks show, okay?
I'm just trying to look out for my buddy's well-being. But Pius Suter, okay, the Canucks signed him again. A 2-year deal worth $1.6 million per season. And I think the big question now is who's he going to play with? So for me, I'm going to basically start with the third line that I had laid out back in the second week of July when we did an episode of Locked On Canucks. And obviously he's got Pius Suter in place of Teddy Blueger. So for me, that was the Canucks' ideal, sexiest third line was Ilya Mikheyev, now Pius Suter, and Connor Garland. And the reason I liked Mikheyev and Garland on that third line is it allows Besser to play on that top line with Pettersson and Kuzmenko. It allows that second line to have a combination of Höglander, Beauvillier, maybe even Podkolzin. Maybe Höglander, Podkolzin can blow the doors off at training camp. But allow the veterans like Mikheyev and Garland, who have both been really good and defensively responsible, even strength, but also they both have ability to create some offense, have them in a third line role where they can take on tough matchups, but have enough skill alongside Pius Suter to create some offense as well. And again, I think Pius Suter is really just a better version of Teddy Blueger, right? A couple years younger, better at creating some offense. People in this market might not know, but Pius Suter spent his first NHL season centering a line with Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat and that line tore it up for the Blackhawks at even strength. So obviously the last couple of seasons, more of a defensive role, but Pius Suter shown some versatility. I would say, not to deviate from what I had in July. My best third line would be Mikheyev, Garland, and Pius Suter.
Wow, man. So before we started recording, Trevor Beggs, he asked me the question, man, like, who's on your third line? Doing some pre-production, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna shock you with my trio. So I'm gonna save it for the show. Okay, let's save it for the show. And it happens to be the exact same line you just said, and
Let's
and
go.
and, it, and
I'm
it's
in your
really
head,
because
baby.
you're in my head. You're in my head. All right, for real. It is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Maybe it's telepathy too. Who knows? But it's mostly that thing that you've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. And yeah, I think I want to see Bassett play with Pettersson and Kuzmenko, and it's kind of just making other things more fun when you're trying to put the puzzle pieces together, right? I'm pretty much cemented in that. That's what I want to see as the top line. So again, it opens up the doors, and I think I just like the sound of that line. I feel as if there's a role for them to play, and I feel as if they're going to be able to. I'm getting ahead of myself, but master whatever they got to do. Mikheyev, Pius, Pius Suter, and Connor Garland. It just sounds like that would work. And excuse me, you would see you would see them battle. You see them compete. They could play against a lot of players, and I feel as if their style of play could complement each other for more than a lot of offense for a third line. For real, I like it.
Yeah, and there's speed and skill there, right? And I think Mikheyev again. If I think Mikheyev is a wild card in general for the Canucks this season, just because of his health, right? I mean, we were told in July that was scheduled to start skating in August. I can't confirm if he's actually skating or not, but he's a wild card at training camp, right? You expect him to be healthy, but who knows? But if he's healthy, if he's got his speed back, if he's ready to go, again, I'd probably prefer him in more of a third line role instead of just like being this digger and grinder in your top six. Like he can do it, but that's not where I want to see Ilya Mikheyev personally. I would rather see Besser. I'd rather see Höglander. Even a guy like Beauvillier probably get chances in the top six ahead of Ilya Mikheyev. I think there's enough winger depth to spread out the goods on this team with still having Mikheyev in your bottom six. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and you bring up Beauvillier. I think the Canuck fans are getting super excited, and it's great. It's beautiful, and next year matters, and let's win as many games as possible, right? Blah blah blah. But we got to keep in mind that we're still taking steps and developing Anthony Beauvillier's value on the market. Again, the Stanley Cup is the goal, but I feel as if that should be like some sort of goal as well
Yeah.
because asset management matters and it's going to be a process and the Canucks are not like this city is not in the market to be only taking like 1 year runs. Like we have to be good for a long time. Let's get back to contending and giving ourselves a chance every year. That's another way to make it to the cup, right? We have to get to that step and I think they got to play all their cards. So again, developing Beauvillier, giving him giving him some time with offensive talent like Miller or Pedersen is cool. It's important. Now, we'll say this. We just saw Kuzmenko, you know, I think he might have put up the photo or somebody. I'm just on Canucks Twitter. It's him fishing, and Mikheyev is on the trip with him, and they're holding a big fish together. I'm just saying. Do you think Pedersen leaked that photo? You get what I'm trying to say? Maybe they already got
Better-
the group chat going because that line, when put together, and we're really ignoring this. We are ignoring it. Okay, they were they were borderline really good
Yeah, they were
last
good.
year
They were good.
when they were together.
Yeah, and they were good for sure. I also would just probably rather see the Canucks load up that top line with some offensive talent. I mean, hey, Pettersson just posted a photo with Höglander. You think maybe Kuzmenko is trying to get Mikheyev up there? Pettersson's trying to get his buddy Höglander back up there,
Well, dude, I got to
Maybe it's
talk about
Pettersson
that.
and Kuzmenko. They're having their own little chat to figure it out.
Well, okay, well, let's segue into there, and I think we're gonna do a third episode on this because I can feel it, and it's gonna make not just more sense, but I don't know the exact wordage I'm trying to use here, but the battle between Podkolzin and Höglander is a really interesting and actually real. There's only room for
Yeah.
one of those players.
That
That's
I'm
what it
not
feels
quite
like.
sure
That
about, but it
okay?
kind of
Hit me,
feels like
hit
it. I
me
think
with
you're
it.
right.
Hit me with it. Hit me with it. Like how? I okay, so if both make it, one's playing a lot of time on the fourth line. Can that one player really do well on the fourth line and keep his role in front of a guy like Neil Zaman or something? You know what I'm trying to say? So hit me with it. Hit me with it. Like, how did those two play prominent roles and both make the Canucks? Because it's feeling tough, man.
It's feeling tough, but I think there are guys to beat out, right? And I think first and foremost, Phil DiGiuseppe is probably a guy to beat out. You know what I mean? Like there is a Canucks lineup with Höglander and Podkolzin both there, but they both have to be better than Phil DiGiuseppe. And like you could even maybe throw like Bluger or Dakota Joshua into the conversation as well.
Whoa,
And I'll get into this a bit in the second segment, just
whoa.
trying to figure out the Canucks cap conundrum. But let's see. Let's again, jobs shouldn't be guaranteed just based on cap hits, right? And Joshua had a good season last year. He's got to come into camp and make sure he's ready to go. Bluger was a healthy scratch for a large chunk of last year, even though he won a Stanley Cup. Like he's got to come ready to go too.
I
So,
like it. I like it, Begsy. Accountability,
but
yo. It's on the players. It's on the players. And I just love the energy. Because you're right, man. Because a guy like Joshua played on the Vancouver Canucks, did well, did well above his value, but you still played on one of the worst teams in the league.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Right. And I think when I did my Canucks lineup back in July, a lot of guys I kind of spread them out, right? Like I try not to have Garland, Hoglander, and Beauvillier all in the same line, spread out the size, spread out the wealth. So I mean, most likely, unless both Hoglander and Buckles and blow the doors off in training camp, which I'm not ruling out. I hope it happens. Yeah, there's a good chance that one of them is kind of buried on a fourth line. And, of those two players, it makes a lot more sense for Podkolzin to be on a fourth line based on his skill set than Hoglander. I think you put Hoglander there and you're almost dooming him in a way, right? So it's a fascinating conversation. I know we deviated a bit from the third line. I actually, funny enough, I did have in my notes other fourth lines and maybe a Hoglander, Podkolzin, and Pius Suter for third line.
Oh, third line.
But again, I just don't like Hoglander in that, kind of defense first role. That's part of the issue there.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, it just kind of seems like we're going down that path of seeing Hoglander stay up and Podkolzin develop still and, making the most of his two-way deal for real. Anyways, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor, Bags. We'll talk more about the cap situation after the break. Bagsy, man, we'll also talk about Saturday too, man. Bagsy and I we went on an adventure. An adventure. We went to a heavy metal concert as well. Okay, more on that in a couple of minutes. Bagsy, who do we have to shout out? Okay.
Oh, buddy, I'm pretty excited for this ad read, and you know why? Because football season is about to kick off, baby. Woo! And FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Because right now, when you bet on a Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. So that means if Kyle picks his beloved Green Bay Packers to win the Super Bowl on FanDuel, he'll probably get 5 free bonus bets thrown. Congratulations to Kyle. If I bet on my Seahawks to win, I'm probably getting at least 10 times I'm getting bonus bets throughout the season because Seahawks. I think they could double the Packers and wins. Let's hope that's the case. Let's go.
Okay.
And when you get those bonus bets, you can use it on spreads, player props, over unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon.
By the way, before we get back to the show, I got to remind you again that every episode of Locked On Canucks will be available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcatcher at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Again, every episode of Locked On Canucks at 4:20 p.m. for no reason at all. Let's get back to the show. Okay. We back. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Bags. A lot going on. Hockey just around the corner, just like football is around the corner. And it's happening, and I never thought it would happen. Never thought it would happen. But right now, I am more in love with the Vancouver Canucks than I am the Green Bay Packers. And you got to call it divine timing, destiny, or this book is already written. But what are the chances that happens right after Aaron Rodgers leaves? It I'm not hating on the Packers or hating on Love. I'm just saying that window of contention that the Packers were in every year when they had Aaron Rodgers, hope before the season only went towards the Super Bowl. That's not there anymore. And now I don't know, just more room, I guess, to be patient with the Packers and maybe be equally as patient with this new run the Canucks have to start going on right now. It has to start now. And the feeling around town, based on the hours and hours I've listened to Canucks content over the last couple of months, and especially over the last couple of days, I think we're climbing towards being more confident with some of these button pushers. And I know the bar was like low, low, really low, really, really low. Again, we had the worst GM in sports calling this place home for years and years and years. The bar was low, but again, it's nice being just a little bit more calm around moves. And this Suter signing, I'm sorry, it just made a lot of sense. And they were able to not once again overpay, which was so rare back in the day. All in all, more confidence. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bowen, locked on Canucks. I'm excited, man. I'm excited for October.
Yeah, you know what, Kyle? I'm excited for October too, but I also don't want to rush through August. Okay, summertime's a nice time of year. You and I, obviously, we had a grand old time on Saturday. Maybe we'll touch on that a little later on here, but first and foremost, like you said, Pius Suter, that 2-year, $1.6 million deal. It's a great deal for the Canucks. I mean, a lot of models had the sky around $3 million, so for the Canucks giving it a bargain was a great piece of business. And I know we already talked about that on Friday, but going forward, I think the big question is what's going to happen with the Canucks cap situation because they are almost $5 million over the cap right now. And really, there's two ways again as a reminder for LTIR how it can work. The best case scenario is do what the Canucks did last season, where you basically get as close to the cap as possible with your LTIR candidates on the roster. So basically, in this scenario, it would be the Canucks getting as close to 83.5 million with Poolman and Pearson on the active roster. Now, I was playing around a bit on Cap Friendly, and I couldn't get to that number, even with like burying Myers and like burying Pearson in the minors before LTIR moves. They're still over the cap with a minimum of 20 players on the roster. So that's makes me think that it's going to be door number two, which is basically the Canucks can exceed LTIR they basically want to get as high as over the cap as much as possible with Pearson and Poolman on the roster. So basically in the example I drew up here, they get like almost right up to 5 million. And again, Pullman and Pearson have $5.75 million combined cap hit. So they can basically exceed LTIR by 5 million next season. So I know it's a bit convoluted, a bit confusing. And it basically means that because cap space accrues daily, Canucks could be in cap trouble kind of later in the season. So, and obviously door number three is they make a trade before the season starts as well. Okay. And it's
Oh
probably
my
not moving
God.
like a Jack Rathbone or something like that. It's probably moving a player of significance off the roster, which again, we've talked about that for a while and it hasn't happened yet. So I'm
Oh
not sure
man.
what that move might look like, but that's clearly an option for this team too.
Trevor, what did you even say? Like what was happening 40 seconds ago? I have no idea. But I think I understand what you're saying. Now, you just said something about how the Canucks need to maybe use door number three and trade a contract off their books, someone that's on their roster. I think a lot of us have looked at Tyler Myers as that dude, right? Seems like they don't even want this guy, possibly, right? He's not that good. Maybe they can, because if they trade Garland, they're not a better hockey team. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's gonna be
Yeah.
unless Hoglander can exceed. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's just a better chance of them not being a better hockey team. If they let go of Myers, they're the same hockey team, if not better. If not better.
Yeah,
I think I
exactly.
think that's a real thing. That being said, we talked about this 5 minutes ago. The Canucks need to take steps. They don't need to take leaps this year. We've done the whole trying to rush things every year, and we've done a lot this offseason. I guess what I'm trying to say is I still don't want to see the Canucks pair up Myers and that cap hit with a second round pick just to make the most out of this year. That second round pick, that third round pick, it's it means a lot to the future of this organization, right? And continuing to contend. They need to hit on draft picks, have draft picks to do so, and have those guys play for really like less than $1 million when this team is going to compete for the cup. They got to play that card. And I'm just tired of that being one of their biggest ways of managing the cap space year in and year out. giving away draft picks to get rid of contracts. They don't got to do that this year. I
Yeah.
think, yeah. Anyways, I'll let you carry on because my mind's all over the place, but it gets me emotional talking about those things because even though I'm confident in the Canucks and the management group seems to be a little bit more wiser, that card that you alluded to, then I just kind of connected those dots. It just makes me scared. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be mad. Don't want to see that happening.
I'm I mean, we saw it happen last September, October, right? When they traded Dickinson in a second, right? So
That
there's
it's already
recent
happened.
history of that happening. So look at you, man. Though you're locked on Canucks, Trevor Banks, Kyle Bhawan. We've been doing this for 5 months now, and you are back into it, man. You're about to cry talking about trading a second and a third round pick. Kyle Bhawan, he's back, baby. He got through the 96 hours of YouTube videos. I'm proud of you, buddy. I'm proud of you.
Dude, it would hurt, man, because I'm hungry for hope. Like hope is dope. Again, where's
Hope
the
is
damn
dope.
t-shirt? Hope is dope. It's somewhere here. And all I gotta say again though is we still gotta be patient. We still gotta be patient. That's how you get to the ultimate step as well. And the Canucks are really at the start of this climb back towards relevancy and contending every year. Hey, speaking of relevancy, Begsy, man, the friendship, man. The friendship, it went from level 99 to level 101 over the weekend. For real. We ate our vegetables. We went for a walk. Trevor took me on this journey and we were just walking along the beach. Like I'm walking on seaweed. I'm walking on seaweed. A Hindu walking on seaweed. That's what I'm doing. Just marching on the coast of Vancouver. And that time where we walked past the happiest individuals in the world. It was about 4 people and it was in this remote location, and these people were just blaring heavy metal rock. Yet they gave off the energy like they were listening to Bob Marley. It was
Yeah.
unreal. I don't know if it was the
There
vegetables hitting or if that happened, right? Did that not happen? Because I
Yeah,
think
that
that
was
happened.
they were easily the friendliest people we saw on our walk too, right? Like not that we met a bunch of prisses or anything, but they're blasting their death metal like, "Hey, how's it going? How's your day going?" Like they were great people, man. They were great people. And me and that guy had matching glasses too. It was a magical moment.
Oh man. Maybe okay, Trevor, I'm saying this. Maybe that didn't happen, but you just saw your future self and I was connected with you and I saw your future self too. Maybe that's the thing cuz I could
Dude,
definitely see you live that type of life. Hey man, if you're listening to this right now, hang out with your friends. Summer is coming to an end. Hang out with your friends, okay? Don't take life so seriously. Take a shift off work, just be there and be there now. Kyle Bound, Trevor Bags.
yeah.
Any other maneuvers with this cap space situation? Because that seems to be the only two options. It's like make sure you get those two in LTIR. We're gonna play that card. Maybe Pearson's not healthy or trade Myers. Anything else?
Well, I still think trading like Beauvillier could be an option too, or
Whoa, whoa, really,
maybe
really?
potentially. Yeah, potentially. I wouldn't rule it out.
Me too. And you know why? Let's
But
say let's
it's
say let's say Hoglander does have a great camp, and Podkolzin has a great camp.
mhm.
That makes trading Beauvillier a lot easier.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, like, this Pearson's health and the $3.25 million cap hit, like, it plays a factor, right? Either way, whether it goes in LTIR or whether the Canucks got to fit on the roster, that's certainly a factor to watch in the coming weeks here, too.
Facts, man. Facts. A lot of hockey talk, a lot of cap talk. And after the break, I'm gonna let you know about the answer Trevor gave me when I asked him the question: Are the Canucks making the playoffs next season? And I know this is a personal topic, right? But I gotta mention your answer. Maybe we should keep this answer, to the moment and those conversations to the moment. But the answer you gave me is something that we got to share with the people, and we'll do that in a couple minutes here on Locked On Canucks when we get to comment corner. You just gave a shout out to FanDuel. Is there anyone else we got to give a shout out to before we get to that?
Just a shout out to you right now for tuning into our show here, Locked On Canucks, baby. We appreciate you.
We back on Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. We only have 6 more minutes to record this segment because Trevor Beggs' Wi-Fi is about to disconnect. And what are the chances the day after, well, 2 days after we spent that Saturday together for like 7 or 8 hours? on our quest to get a bag of ketchup chips. What are the chances that now on the Monday when we reconnect, we're here talking about a Wi-Fi disconnection, okay? Because a big part of that trip on Saturday for me was, learning from you and how to disconnect more. Because I want to get to 100, and I think you're one of the guys that's going to get there because A, you're like semi-healthy, and B, you're not you're not absorbed. You're not absorbed with what the phone can do. Anywho, Locked On
Yeah.
Canucks, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs. Let's get to comment corner. And man, oh man, the people matter, man, for real. The people matter. Like I said, one of the comments earlier mentioned has me rearranging my lifestyle to be a better hockey podcaster for you. I know my voice is annoying, and my my road to smoking a pack a day starts today. Let's read another comment on Comment Corner.
Welcome to Comment Corner, powered by paraphrasing.
This comment comes from someone possibly from Michigan.
Hello, I'm a Red Wings fan who comes in peace, but expecting Hronek to be that good may be a big, sexy tease. On one end, he's amazing. On the other, he's average. Stay safe, Vancouver.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. Reading this comment made me a little less hopeful because again, I've never watched a lot of Hronek, and this dude has. So he would know a lot more. And I think the pundits, is that how you say it? They've kind of alluded to this as well. There's a good chance that this is the case with Hronek. I want to ask you, Trevor, and I think I know the answer to the first part, and it's going to lead to the second question. A, how does Hronek take the next step and do that while he's on a new team with the Vancouver Canucks? And I think the answer is connected to this. B, who does he play with? I know we've had him for months now, and we've made those signings with Susie and Cole. The more and more you've lived your summer days, have you found that guy that you know was going to play with Hronek and he's going to succeed with?
I mean, for me, that guy is still Ian Cole, right? Just based on what we know about Hronek, how he needs a defensively responsible partner to succeed. Cole's got the longer track record to doing that in the NHL. I've said it before. Every Dares know I would rather have the veteran in Ian Cole alongside Philip Hronek rather than Carson Soucy or someone else in the Canucks lineup. Because I think Soucy, again, he's just learning to be a top four defenseman for the first time in his career. He's only been a bottom pairing guy. So I don't want to see Soucy trying to figure out top four life alongside Hronek. Hronek needs that stability. And yeah, in terms of the commenters' comment about, Hronek having huge defensive lapses, I mean, I noticed that certainly more in previous years. The hope is that he turned a corner last year. Again, he faced some less difficult matchups in that Wings lineup. But again, he succeeded facing less difficult matchups while paired with a defensive partner. So he's a good player, but he needs help, right? So I've had skepticism since March 1st, since the trade broke, but I'm also hopeful that he's figured it out. But the Canucks got to do right by Hronek by, A, utilizing him right, not feeding him the heaviest matchups, and by B, giving him a steady partner. And I think Ian Cole's that guy.
And I think Ian Cole, by the sounds of it, is that guy because obviously Hronek needs stability. And I think if he has somebody stable beside him, it's obvious that it's easier for him to maintain his level of confidence and potentially get to the next level of his playing career. And again, I think that only happens with confidence. And him getting confidence right away as a member of, again, your Vancouver Canucks, so important because Vancouver's different, man. Vancouver's different. It's 50 plus years of mediocrity. Hockey really, really, really matters to this city, to this nation, and it's gonna really, really, really matter next season. And I don't want him to. I don't want him to have to face the heat right away. And if he does have to face the heat right away, I want him to be confident when handling it because he's the player. He's the guy. Don't lose to us. Don't lose to us, okay, here on Locked On Canucks. Well, we're just fans. We're just fans. Kyle Bound, Trevor Becks, your team every day, aka your Canucks every day. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button wherever you stream your podcast. Leave us a review as well. People, remember, man, hope is dope. And I think you can feel more hopeful about your life, yes, about your life, if you spend some real time in the outside world with your people. Trevor Beggs, blessed to have you as a friend. Sign us out.
I love you, buddy. I love you almost as much as I love you for tuning into this episode of Locked On Canucks. Whether you're an everydayer, an occasional listener, if this is your first time listening, we love you regardless, man. And welcome to the Canucks Locked On family, okay? I think, again, we're still part-time, minimum 3 shows a week, but I think we may pump out 5 this week, Kyle. You know why?
Whoa.
Because I've recorded 1 crossover episode with the Locked On Sharks guy. I got another one coming up this week with the Locked On Flames gal. So we'll post both of those on our feed. I think we'll post the Locked On Sharks one tomorrow. I recorded that late last week. And maybe the Flames one on Thursday. And then Kyle, maybe you'd record Wednesday, Friday. So boom, bam. Still Locked On Canucks 5 days a week in August. Woohoo! Our listeners are blessed, and we're blessed to have you. So that's coming up this week. One of the topics that Kyle and I might touch on as well, the 2010 drafts, ranking them, okay? All 10 drafts that the Canucks did in the 2010s, revisiting that a bit over the next couple episodes. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Cal Bhawan, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.